Hi guys, this is Chuck from Maverick's Arcade. Today we're going to be talking about the differences between two Ultimarc joysticks. The first is the Ultimarc U360 and the second is the ServoStik. They're both great joysticks, but they have a couple of differences that you should be aware of when deciding on your choices between joysticks. Again, I'm choosing Ultimarc just because that's the one that I initially researched, and I've had no problems with those devices thus far. So originally I purchased two of these U360 devices with the hopes of eventually getting the rotator kit, which is an add-on for these joysticks. What that rotator kit would allow you to do is to take the turning motion of the joystick and actually have that translate into the game. Now, this would be beneficial for games like Akari Warriors, where the character in the game will rotate direction and he will then be able to fire while walking forward, shooting at the other direction. That was a feature that originally was really important to me because this was one of my favorite games growing up. However, there's probably only about 12, 13 games that I'm aware of that use that rotation function in the game. So it's kind of, I would love to have it for the most authentic feel of the game. However, I decided to try one of these ServoSticks, and the ServoStik does not offer the rotation function. However, it's got a lot of other features that are really cool that make up for it, and then some. So both of these sticks have the ability to have what they call their ServoStick Motor on the bottom, which basically allows a physical restrictor to restrict the movement of the joystick from either 8 directions or just 4 directions. However, there's a little motor that you can configure for your games, whether or not it's a 4-way or an 8-way game. Now, even though you put that restrictor plate on this still has a gliding feeling to it. You don't feel switches engage like you do on a classic machine. It is analog, so it also has a long distance between left, right, up, and down. And that's so that you can get the varying degrees of sensitivity and pressure on the joystick. If this is a deep hole in the control panel, though, the joystick may end up touching the sides. I have 1 1/8 inch holes here, and if this joystick is not dead center in that hole, it does touch on the sides. The ServoStik has a shorter throw, so even though this may not be centered, it doesn't move this much in these directions to hit the sides. Also, because it's a physical switch inside the joystick, as you move, you can feel and hear the slight click that definitely gives you that more authentic tactile experience. It's just a great joystick. I love the RGB light up feature. It allows me to animate it with the rest of my functions, and the software to move it from a 4-way to an 8-way configuration, I just tied into my emulator software, and before you launch the game, you can hear the little motor kick in and it adjusts that plate accordingly so that it has that feeling. And again, it's just a great feeling joystick. It just feels like the original. Now, reasons why you would still definitely want to consider the U360. Again, it's still a great joystick. The software, you can also do software configurations for the restrictor plate. And again, you can get the same motor that's on here on this joystick to physically restrict it. You just won't have that click feeling at the end of each button engagement. Now, reasons why you may still want to consider having this analog joystick. Well, in my case, I have 2 classic arcade style player setups, but also on the sides I have 2 analog game pads. So for my functionality, if I have a game that requires analog, I can go to these control game pads and have that functionality of analog, so I don't need them on these controls here. So I'm going to end up switching this U360 with another one of these ServoSticks. I can get all my analog needs out of the game pads. Now, in your case, if you are only building for 2 players and you're not putting any game pads or any other sort of analog device on your system, you may want to consider these U360s to get that analog functionality that some games do require. Other than that, it's just going to be a matter of preference. Again, I really loved these U360s. I really wanted that rotation function, but once I got these ServoSticks and I saw how cool they are and all the different features that they have, and the feeling, again, the feeling of that joystick is just totally authentic. I'm personally going to be switching this out with another ServoStick. But if you guys have any questions, please email me at mavericksarcade@gmail.com. Again, mavericksarcade@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please click like below and leave a comment. If you have questions or suggestions, please email mavericksarcade@gmail.com. And if you're into consoles, classic gaming, or home arcades, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks again for watching.